The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
High above Stafford Motor Speedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to what is sure to be a little bit of a lighter night for us here at LSRTV. Cisco Scaramuza alongside Kelly Dull to bring you Media Day here for the Cars eSport Tour and the 2018 season. And we're going to be a little bit more chilled out tonight, Kelly. Not having to worry about cars racing on track, just some track time for the drivers, some interview time for some of the other drivers. Generally just going to hang out and chat with some of these guys who are going to be taking part in this series. Going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely a lot more laid-back night for everyone. Drivers are still getting in their last little opportunity for some on-track practice just to get those cars all worked out before the season starts. And for us, it's just a night to go over what to expect in these coming weeks and what we're going to see in this season, and maybe even announce a few things along the way as well.
Yeah, and we'll look forward to Kyle Barnes is going to be joining us a little bit towards the midpoint of this talk to fill us in on some of the things that can be happening around the league. But with that being said, we're going to kick off the interviews right now because we have a bunch of drivers to get and bring to you guys. But before we do that, actually what we're going to do is run you through your drivers for the late model stock division, because that's going to be the first series that we're going to be seeing out here. And of course the late model stocks utilizing the NASCAR the Monte Carlo SS Chevrolet late models that you'll see a little bit on track right now. You can see that's David Killough in the 27 going around in that particular machine. So these cars, that's one of the two divisions that run the Cars eSport Tour. Of course, a mimic of the actual Cars Tour, which will be kicking off its 2018 season here coming up on Saturday at Tri-County Speedway, and we'll have some more information on that race as well as we move through the evening. But drivers going to be taking part. We'll walk you through some of the drivers you're going to be hearing and you'll be seeing out on track, and it all begins with that 02 of DJ Beverly, our first LMSC entry, driving that number 02 that he was last season. Patriot Fire on board that particular car. Then you got the 03 of Matt Chinaski, of course a driver that if you've been hanging around and watching a little bit of the Bootleg Racing League, you'll recognize that name. Chinaski driving the 03 car and not having any sponsors on board yet, a free agent for that driver. Then we scroll down the list, and the next driver going to be up is going to be the number 1 of Chad Bass, and not here this evening, but the ICB Racing driver going to be in a number 1, a Impala lettered car. Then after that, Kelly, we're going to have the number 4 of Derek Paulson. He's driving for Mad Dog Motorsports, which was one of these newer teams popping up. And we'll be keeping an eye on him as well. As we're just heading down the Cars Tour drivers list just to kind of run you through who's going to be driving in this LMSC class.
Yeah, the next driver we've got in that class, that number 5 of Scott Austin. You'll also see him in multiple series, is not just the late model stocks. He'll also be racing the super late models as well as a number of other drivers as well. He'll be driving a 2018 Chevy Camaro badged car, driving for the 62 Motorsports. We're wearing that Austin Designs paint scheme on that number 5. Next car we have for the series is the number 6 of Tommy Ryan. He'll be driving the 2011 Chevrolet Impala badged car, driving for Unacceptable Racing. And on that car, we'll see the Coastal Safety Auditors, Northern Tool, and Equipment. Going down that list, continuing on, will be the number 8 of Matthew Murphy. They're driving a 2018 Ford Fusion. That number 8 machine will be sponsored by Al's Pals, Randall Orchards, Four River Brewing, and he'll be driving for the Murphy Motorsports.
Yeah, another guy we're going to be watching here, Randy Yoakum, another driver that we've seen plenty of times here on LSRTV, not in this particular session, but he'll be driving the number 9 Unacceptable Racing, teammate to Tommy Ryan. That car will have York Falcons, Tim's Custom Painting, and Commonwealth Technology Group. That'll be another 2018 Chevrolet Impala badged car, as we welcome in Jacob Bell, who's going to be helping us out a little bit this evening, talking up with us. But number 10 car coming up next is Brandon Stokes, one of the free agents. He's going to be in the Boyette's number 10 Chevrolet Impala lettered car. Then right down the list as well, Stokes, meanwhile, keep in mind, he's going to be running in both divisions. Number 11 of Ben Peterson, another LMSC driver, another one of those free agents in a 2014 lettered car, Coors Light entry for the number 11. Guillaume Fortin, Kelly, you can help me with that one.
Yeah, the number 13, Guillaume Fortin, he'll be driving in the Super Late Model Series.
Yeah, read that wrong. I thought he was an LMSC. I read that wrong. So we can touch on him a little bit later, but then you got Billy Tungate in that number 14. He's going to be one of the guys we're going to be hearing from. Kelly, driving the American Pool Supply entry, that 2014 lettered LMSC.
Yeah, 14, Billy Tungate from Las Vegas, Nevada. You're going to be driving a number 2014 Chevy Impala for Mad Dog Motorsports. And on that number 14, we're going to see American Pool Supply, Pentair, and Hasa. Continuing down this massive list of the late model stock series, we've got the number 15 of Jack Ritchie from Buckingham, Virginia, who's driving that 2014 Chevy Impala for Barbecue Motorsports, and as of yet, we do not know what he's going to be wearing on that car. Continuing on.
He's got, looks like, I'm seeing the car on track, and it looks like it's got a Kono IO or something, Eagle thing. I'll have to, if we get a chance to catch up with him, we'll form her on that. But who's up next there, Kelly?
Well, up next will be the 16 of Paul Henley from Watkins Glen. He'll be driving a 2018 Toyota Camry for 09 Motorsports. And on that car, we'll see Turn 5 Live and Croak and Toads RC Raceway. Continuing on, still, we got the first number 17 of the night. This will be the number 17 that we'll see in the late model series. He'll be driving a 2018 Chevy Impala SS for Gray Racing. And on that car is CCI Racing Exact Cut.
Yeah, Jacob, when the driver's not here in this particular session, then you got the number 18 of Nicholas Preast, the driver out of Raleigh, North Carolina, in a 2013 Chevrolet Impala. Going to have Graphics Unlimited and Renfro Heating and Air on board that machine. Then a driver who's going to be double dipping in both the LMSC and the SLM division, John Lyday in the ProTech Custom Gear LLC, GlobalCom, and iAnalyze.com 2018 Chevrolet Impala. He's out of Elgin, South Carolina. And then one of the, I'd say one of the favorites for the series, Kelly, and we know just by purely just by watching him, we know he's going to be fast. The number 23, the Vincier Racing entry of Christian Peterson. On board that car is going to be Peterson Irrigation, 6-Man Inc., GlobalCom, Austin Designs, and iAnalyze. Joe Burkett also doing the double, and he's going to be driving for Overtake Motorsports, Swamp Dust Seasoning, Clarence Steakhouse, and Danville Toyota on board that 2016 Toyota Camry. David Killough, the 27, he's out there on track right now in the Arctic Coolers entry. Number 27, Ford Fusion for Insane Motorsports, and like we said, Arctic Cooler Sheets on board that entry. Then we got right behind him, in numbers-wise anyway, the number 28 of Nathan Hurlburt, that driver out of Hampshire, Illinois. 2015 Ford Fusion for Insane Motorsports, Bristol Transport and Towing, and Pat and Cat on board that car. And finally, for at least for now, we're going to catch up with some interviews here momentarily, but the last guy we'll touch on here for now is going to be Will Drevicky, that LMSC. He's going to be double dipping as well out of Cleveland, Ohio. 2018 Toyota Camrys for 09 Motorsports. He's in the Turn 5 Live and Croak and Toads RC Raceway Toyota Camry. But we'll go through some more of the drivers that you'll be seeing in your LMSC division here in a little bit, but what we're going to do is send it down because we're going to talk with our first driver on the evening, and that is the driver who has had so much success here in CEA, and it's the driver of Matt Cucker. You can see him right there on your screen in that gray number 69. And first of all, Matt, welcome to the booth, and welcome to the 2018 car season.
Yeah, I mean, having high hopes for this season after coming off championship from last season. I mean, it's 69 Chevy sponsored by GlobalCom, and Global Com and Turn 3 Auto Transport. I'm not sure about iAnalyze yet. We're still trying to work some things out. But hopefully we can come back and hopefully have a strong contending for championship again.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had one heck of a 2017, whether it was in MBSS or in Cars eSport Tour. And what's the expectation here? Are you going to go out and try and match and duplicate the results that you had last season?
Hey, we're going to try our best. I mean, the field this year, it's getting a little bit bigger compared to last year, and a more stout of a field that I feel we're racing against. So, I mean, it's going to be much harder, I think, to get wins. But, I mean, when you're doing a points deal like this, it's not about every week finishing. It's about being consistent, finishing up front, not just finishing. You got to finish up front and try to be as consistent as possible the whole season long.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's kind of... Is there, obviously you've been racing the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, so you've had plenty of time behind the wheel of these cars. Is there still going to be any sort of rust or anything like that you're going to have to knock off? Obviously you had success over in Upstate Racing League as well this past off season, so is there really much need to knock off the rust, or are you feeling as good as ever?
I mean, there's some tracks that I definitely need to run back at. I mean, Thompson's one of them. I'm not too good there, but we're going to have to try and run laps there before the week comes that we race there and get as much practice as possible to knock the rust off on those tracks. But there's other tracks that, yeah, we ran, and I ran different leagues, and we'll see what happens because, I mean, there's a lot of tracks that there's more contenders in, they can win.
Who's your biggest threat out there in the field this year? Who do you think is going to be that guy that you're worried about?
It's, of course, my teammate Christian Peterson. I mean, we're always close against each other. We're always racing as close as we can, and it's always tight. See who comes out with the win.
Well, Matt, we'll give you plenty of time for sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you need to make sure you thank here as we get this media day kicked off here.
Definitely got to thank Team Vincier again for sponsoring this all, and Global Com and Turn 3 Auto Transport and Scott Austin Designs coming on board this season.
All right, well, that's Matt Cucker and our first interviews of the evening. And Matt, of course, coming off a fantastic 2017, our late model stock defending champion. Matt, thanks for catching up with us, and we'll see you here coming up in 2018.
All righty, thank you.
That's Matt Cucker, and I mean, Kelly, if you're coming off the seasons that he's had, whether it's been through Upstate or through CEA or across several different leagues, you got to be feeling fairly confident if you're that driver as a 69.
I would definitely be feeling confident if I was him. He's such a fast driver in those late models, but we're going to have to see what he's going to be able to do when he gets into the super lates. As we've seen, there's a lot of differently strong contenders out there. We've seen Christian Peterson absolutely dominate in these cars last season, but I think the main story might come down to a battle between two teammates as we see Matt Cucker and Christian Peterson go head-to-head in both series.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all if we saw that again, but we're going to be catching up with some drivers later on that I think will have something to say about that, Kelly. But we welcome in Jacob Bell to join us up here in the booth. And Jacob, you've been kind of watching from the outside a little bit on this series, and kind of your initial thoughts after kind of hearing Cucker's interview. What were your thoughts on his confidence level?
Yeah, you know, Cucker sounds like he's a real talented, well-spoken guy, and overall, I just think this series, there's so much to look forward to, a lot of potential. I know the races are going to be exciting because when you get these kind of cars on these kind of tracks we're going to be racing, it just leaves for a lot of great side-by-side and close-quarters racing. So I look forward to it, and I know this season's going to be great.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And just like that, we're going to move on to the next driver that we're going to be talking to. One of the drivers we didn't catch up to when we were going through the grid, but Todd Novasad in that number 34, the Cat car. Going to be catching up with him. And Todd, welcome to the broadcast booth. And you're just heading out for a little bit of running, but welcome to the 2018 Cars Tour season.
Hello, thank you.
So we talked to Matt just a little bit earlier, and feel free if you just kind of want to cruise around while we're talking, you can do that. You can do whatever you want to do. But for you, it's going to be your first time here in the eSport Tour. Talk us through your decision to kind of come in and join us here.
Just actually a big fan of the actual real-life series. Went to about 3 races last year, the 2 Concord races and the South Boston race, and just kind of got hooked to the series and saw that they had a iRacing type league and wanted to try my hand at it.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's awesome to see more and more drivers. Now, you're a part of Hard Drive Motorsports, so talk a bit about your team and what you guys are going to be doing this year.
Right now, it's just me running with the team. We might have a later entry in the year, Mark Norbert, and then possibly Jonathan Lawrence, who ran in the Dash for Cash series, might join us later on in a Super.
Well, it'll definitely be the something to watch out for here. But you picked the LMSC, the late model stock. Like that car a little bit more than the SLM, or kind of what's your decision behind that one?
Wanted to try to run a fixed setups, more or less. Not too good at making setups, so figured this would be my better shot at trying to place in top 10s and possibly top 5s for the year.
Well, we definitely have a varied schedule. We're going to several different short tracks over the season. Where are you looking at to see your best? Where's your best track going to be this season?
I would say Martinsville in USA. I like kind of the go fast and hard break, and this short tracks in general are always fun for me.
I'll tell you what, we got plenty of those coming up here, Todd, but we'll give you plenty of time here. Sponsors, shout-outs, everybody you want to thank or say hello to out there here at Media Day.
Hey, Jonathan and Mark, if you're watching, and looking forward to the season and can't wait for next Wednesday.
All right, well, that's. I just want to make sure I'm getting the name right. Novasad?
Yep, Novasad. Good job. Usually everybody messes it up the first time.
Hey, we'll take the plus on that. But Todd, thanks for joining us here, and we look forward to seeing you in 2018.
Yep, look forward to hopefully be mentioning a couple times. Good plays, at least.
That's the goal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's Todd Novasad. He's going to be driving that number 34 Caterpillar Chevrolet. And coming up next year, Kelly, in a little bit here, we're going to talk to David Killough, and you're going to be staying by with him here in a little bit. But thoughts? This is definitely something that you've had to deal with. You came in into the Upstate Racing League as a brand new driver. What's that kind of like for somebody to come into kind of these higher tier short track series and being able to do and having to kind of pick your way up and kind of figure things out going in as a new driver?
Well, as a new driver, it's a little bit of a process of feeling everything out. You've got to feel out what the other drivers are around you, just their driving styles and their skill levels. And usually that's where a lot of people struggle, is they'll get into a lot of conflicts with other drivers. They don't quite know where they're going to be going on the racetrack. But if after a few races, they start to feel where everyone's going to be, and they're going to feel a bit more confident going side-by-side racing. But a few of these new guys, you might see them get into a little bit of trouble early on as they don't quite know what to expect. But perhaps we may see someone that's a little bit outstanding that, they may come into the series fresh-faced and just absolutely dominate. But we'll have to wait until the first race of the season next week until we see if there is going to be someone like that.
All right, well, I'm going to give you this microphone and send you down to pit road because I need you to catch up with one of these drivers. Make sure you don't get run over on the way run down to pit road. That wouldn't be good.
Yeah, it seems to be quite a bit of action going on in pit road right now, but I'll head on down there, and we're going to take a moment to talk to the number 27 of David Killough, driving for the Insane Motorsports, as we mentioned earlier. David, I think we're going to be catching up with you now. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, David, last season you had 2 top 5s and 4 starts. You decided not to race for points, just kind of showing up a few times. But this season, what is your plan now for the full season?
Oh, yeah, definitely want to run full-time. Last year had a couple electrical issues in the computer, didn't allow me to commit to a full schedule, but this year definitely will.
Do you think you're going to be able to throw these guys a little bit off pace here by just they may not know you that much, but you did show last season those 4 starts that you did have some speed. Do you think maybe you'll shake things up a little?
Oh, definitely hope to. I think that's everybody's goal here is go in there and knock Peterson and Conquer off their game each race. Those two have proved dominant week in and week out, no matter what series we're running with them in. So running with them's definitely a goal. Definitely want to try to beat them though.
Well, we've got a lot of races on the schedule, but is there something that stands out to you that maybe you're going to be a bit stronger at? And is there maybe a track that you maybe need to work on a bit more before we get there?
Oh, yeah, definitely want to work at Stafford. Not really ran there too many times. Last race there was about 2 years ago with the same guys. But, yeah, definitely want to work on Stafford. There's some fun tracks coming up. South Boston, always going to be a fun track. Always tight, close, quarters everywhere, beating and banging everywhere. That's one of my favorite kind of styles of racing. Just rooting and running everybody out of the way, especially my home track being Bowman Gray. So that's kind of the style of racing that I grew up with.
Well, later on in the season, we've got a couple of races that are going to throw up the format a little bit. We've got a few heat races. When we finally do get to those, is your strategy going to change for those shorter runs, or are you going to be still running the similar line and a similar setup to what you'd be running if you're doing just a full race there?
Oh yeah, they would definitely have to be different. Just shorter runs. It's gotta go now. The longer runs, the longer races, you can just kind of get in your own little groove, pace yourself. That way you have some tires left at the end.
All right, well, thank you very much for stopping by with us. But before we let you go, is there anyone that you want to thank for just getting you the opportunity to race in this series?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Arctic's been with me. This is the third year I've been with Arctic. My local Snap-on dealer always, and my wife for putting up with me.
All right there, David. Thank you very much for talking to us. Hopefully we'll see you again shortly, maybe in a few weeks when you finish in the top 3. Maybe we'll get another chance to have a chat with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, so that's that driver, that number 27 machine, David Killough. He'll be driving in the late model stock series for Insane Motorsports, and we'll send it back up to you, Cisco.
I guess he's hoping to have an insane performance out there in that number 27, the Arctic Coolers machine, and talking a bit about some of the drivers out of these newer camps. Kelly, one of the teams that's had so much success, obviously in CEA, has been Vincier Racing, but kind of as a response to that, we've seen these other teams pop up, teams like Insane Motorsports and 09 and Mad Dog, all these groups coming in here to try and stick it to the overlords as it is. What are kind of your thoughts on that? Kind of the drivers almost teaming up almost.
I think it was just a natural progression after Vincier dominated so much last season. There was only one winner in the SLM series that wasn't from Vincier that we saw last season. So I think it was just kind of a natural thing that these guys had to band together, start sharing setups, and figure out how they're going to take these guys down, or else they were just going to be stuck fighting for second, third, maybe even fourth places. The Vincier guys would just lock them out. So it really is just how things are going to happen, and we'll have to see if any of these teams are going to really mesh well together and maybe take the fight to the Vincier drivers.
Absolutely. And I think, Jacob, is the wireless mic working for you down there on pit road?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
All right, cool, because we're going to send you down. You're getting caught up with one of these other drivers from one of these big teams, and that's Brandon Wilkinson.
Yeah, I get the chance to talk to Brandon Wilkinson here in the number 56. Brandon, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Hey, man, so newest member of 09 Motorsports heading into this season. Talk to us about how that environment's been treating you.
Yeah, well, Will and Paul are great. We ended up merging our two teams. Scott Ecker's Chassis is really talented guys over there, and the talented guys at 09 Motorsports with Will, Paul, and we got Jeff Ward, and now we got it's kind of Will's job to announce, but Ryan Doucette. He's going to be joining us this season. So, we're trying to just put together a team that has a shot to really give Vincier a run for their money and make it not a two-car show every week.
Yeah, and how much information has been being shared just between your group that you already have, and then plus you said you're adding another. What's the information like being shared between you guys?
So far, it's been great. We have a third party outside that will not be named that's working with us, and they've got some real talent over there. So between the three of us, we've been working on Myrtle Beach already, and circling some races where I think we're gonna have 4 or 5 cars to beat. Everything's been good so far, and looking forward to a great season with those guys. Man, it's gonna be awesome. The competition here is great. The drivers here are great, and the guys that we're working with are gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and then obviously last year, one top 5 in the late model stock, and also one top 10 in super late model last year. How was last year to you, in your opinion?
I think we made like 3 starts. We showed up to the Sobo Bounty race, and my guys dominated the show. So, really proud of that. They gave us high hopes in our ability to make a car that is able to compete with those guys. Scott Eckrich, Connor Blaze finished 1-2 in that race, and I got involved in a scuffle there with a couple of guys. But that's in the past. But it showed that we have the ability to make cars to race with these guys, and I think we're going to show it once again this year. Really, really, really excited for the opportunity at hand, for sure.
So then, fast forward to this year. Where are your goals for this season here?
We come to win it. That's about it. Every time we hit the racetrack, we're going to win. Whether we take home the checkered flag or the steering wheel, we're coming to win. That's about it.
And then, of course, anybody else you want to thank or mention here, the floor is yours to go ahead.
Yeah, of course. Gonzo Designs, my spotter, and my painter, Michael Gonzalez. Great job. He's a great kid. Anybody that needs paints, go to Gonzo Designs. Awesome guy. Turn 5. American Pool Supply is my primary sponsor on a late model this year. Super late model, we're returning Kirkwood Transportations, Brad Newman Photography, 09 Motorsports, Scott Eckrich Chassis, and a bunch of people that they know who they are, but don't want to be named live, but Jeff Ward, Paul Hanley, Jonathan Goodell, Will Drevicky, James Milbacher, Scott Eckrich, and Ryan Doucette. Just got to thank all those guys, man. Awesome people to run with. LSRTV, Kyle. Looking forward to it, and trying not to make it a one-team show this year. It's going to be good.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun talking to you. I appreciate you giving us some time here.
Yep, thank you.
So that was Brandon Wilkinson in the number 56 car. Sounds like he's got his goals set pretty high this season, Cisco. A lot of these guys going and trying to make themselves the best team out there.
Yeah, and I think that that has definitely been the case for a lot of these teams. And the driver we're going to be talking to coming up next year, Sean Cross, another one of these teams that's kind of popped up that trying to find some success here. But I find it interesting, Kelly, kind of hearing from Wilkinson, the shadow puppets, the shadow people behind the scenes who aren't going to be named. It's adding a little bit of mystique to that team in a way.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but I think they're just not wanting to reveal who might be the guy behind making their setups, or maybe the person that'll be in their ear talking to them from the top of the grandstands, spotting for them as they go around the track. And I think they're just trying to maybe play up the drama a little bit, and that's something we enjoy here. Is we really want to put on a good show, and guys that take that to that length, yeah, they'll help us put on a good show and really bring some fire to the racetrack.
Some kind of anonymous general manager, sounds like, or something like that. I don't know. Well, maybe who knows? Maybe we'll find that out during the season. Maybe we won't. But definitely some of the drivers being named. Of course, Doucette being added to that list is that's a huge get for them as well. He mentioned Jonathan Cadell, who's coming over. One of the drivers formerly of RS Arbor, right now out of Sim 500. So I'll be keeping an eye on Cadell. And I don't know if we're going to catch up with him today, but one of the streamers, one of the couple of streamers that we're going to be having, and we'll have more information on that here coming on later on. But what we're going to do is go back down. Yeah, what's up, Jacob?
No, I just wanted to add that I think, like you were saying with Wilkinson and that team, there's just going to be so much parity, it seems like, this season, and it just makes it a lot of fun for all the people watching and all the people driving, really, because not having the same couple of people up front or vice versa, now they're going to have just so much parity with all these guys forming together, and you can tell that they're going to be giving it their all.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll hear from, I think, at least 2 more of those guys out of that camp later on. But what we're going to do right now is catch up with the driver of Sean Cross. And that driver from Mad Dog Motorsports. Sean, you got a copy?
I got you loud and clear.
Well, Sean, we've been seeing you across CEA in various different, the one-offs, PRL and stuff like that. And now we're seeing you for the first time in the Cars eSport Tour. So first of all, welcome. But overall thoughts coming into this season, it'll be your first time on track. Initial thoughts, worries, freakouts, anything like that on your mind right now?
Definitely not freaking out. The competition level here at the Cars eSport Tour is going to be really, really high. Just really, like to take this first year here at Cars and learn as much as we can and try to get some top 5s and top 10s out of it.
Well, it says here on my note card that, at least that was given to me by Kyle Barnes, you were one of the most improved drivers in the league. So kind of your reaction to that, and how does that kind of give you a little bit of confidence maybe or something like that?
Yeah, definitely confidence. Appreciate Kyle noticing the progress we've made. You know, I got to attribute it to the league. You know, with this kind of competition, you're either going to get better or you're going to quit racing with these guys. They're some of the best in the iRacing service.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's definitely a cool thing to see a lot of these new drivers into the series, and there are some names you're familiar with here, Sean. Who are you looking out for this season as kind of a somebody you're going to be putting yourself up against here a little bit?
No, well, I mean, I guess the class of the field is going to be, you know, Brandon Wilkinson, Jeff Ward. Those guys over at 09 are always going to be really fast. And just going to try to match speed with them and see what we can do.
Well, you're going to have some teammates out in the field, and with Billy Tungate, some of the other drivers out of the American Pool Supply camp. Talk about your teammates a little bit. How's the team dynamics over at Mad Dog?
I'm pretty new to Mad Dog. Been there a little over a month, I guess. You know, but Billy's really awesome. Derek's usually really fast. Have learned a lot from those guys, and especially working together with those guys. Really looking forward to this year.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's definitely looking to be a good season for you guys. Final shout-out sponsors, anyone you want to say hello to out there?
You know, of course, my sponsor, Cross Creations. That's my wife's company. She does a really good job with stuff. You know, Billy, obviously, over at Mad Dog, American Pool Supply. You know, what a great group of guys, and appreciate you guys for always broadcasting us.
All right, well, that's Sean Cross, driver of the number 41. Sean, good luck in 2018, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you soon here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
That's Sean Cross, one of the drivers out of the Mad Dog Motorsports. And some of these teams that I find interesting here, Jacob, is the fact that a lot of these teams are still relatively new. You know, these drivers only getting added, you know, a month ago or something like that, or combining resources here. And that's going to be a little bit of a change when it comes to race time versus someone like a Vincier Racing who has, you know, the established roster of drivers and the established kind of work ethic with each other.
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to your basic rules here of the longer you do something, the better you're going to be at it, and that's just practice. So in that sense, Vincier does have a huge advantage over the rest of the field, but in another sense, some of these drivers have been racing late models longer than a lot of the people at Vincier have been racing late models. So there's your argument against that, but really it's going to come down to the actual racing and just seeing how that all plays out. But Vincier is definitely going to be your top dogs headed in, and you can tell a lot of people are trying to take him down.
Well, I'll send the wireless mic back down to Kelly Dahl. And Kelly, I believe you're catching up with one of the guys over at Overtake Motorsports, and that's Joey Burkett.
Yeah, I'm catching up here with that driver, the number 26 machine driver for the Overtake Motorsports. Joe, do you here with us?
Yes.
All right, so Joe, going back to another CEA series, the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, you were the winner of that final race, the Myrtle Beach 250. Do you think that's going to maybe translate to a little bit of momentum for you moving into the season?
I'm hoping so, at least. Don't really know, you know, to get started here with Stafford. Hopefully the car will work well for me. I know Myrtle Beach pretty well, so I was pretty comfortable around there. I'm not too familiar with Stafford coming up next week, but hopefully I can bring the 26 Swamp Dust, you know, home to a good finish.
Well, we will be going to Myrtle Beach a few times, and you seem to say that that's going to be your dominating track, but is there a track out there you think you need a little bit more work at?
Definitely Stafford this week, and you know, it's just couple of tracks I'd have to say probably Lanier and maybe Irwindale. Never really ran at Irwindale, but you know, I don't think it's going to take too much. You know, these cars are pretty easily to drive, and I think you know, most all these guys are going to be pretty equal, and you're going to see the same people mostly up front every week. So I think if you can just get in, get comfortable with the car, I think the tracks will come around pretty easy.
All right, well, you're going to be racing in both the late model stock series and in the super late models. Is there one of them that you're going to be putting maybe just a bit more focus on throughout the season, or are you going to be trying to keep it pretty even between the two?
Most of the focus is going to go to late model stocks, just for the fact that it's, you know, less tuning and stuff you have to do with it being a fixed setup. It's just more focused on just turning laps and getting familiar with the tracks every week before the race gets there. Not really handy with tuning cars for supers, so it's kind of more going to be a hit and miss every week with the super races, but just, you know, hoping to get in there, run good, hopefully here and there, and you know, just try to maybe steal a few positions each week when some guys wreck or something. So.
Well, Joe, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to come up here and talk to us. But before we let you go, we're going to give you the floor. And who would you like to thank for the opportunity to run in this series?
I just want to thank my sponsor, Swamp Dust Seasoning, the guys at Overtake Motorsports for coming on and helping me every week to practice and study all these tracks. Thanking Clarence Steakhouse and Danville Toyota. I want to thank the Sellers Racing Incorporated group, Peyton Sellers, and all the guys for their late model stock program down here in Danville, Virginia, for allowing me to run his car on a limited basis here in both supers and late model stock. And you know, just want to thank Kyle for you know, bringing cars back for a third season and allowing all of us to participate.
All right, thank you very much for stopping and talking to us, Joe. Hopefully we'll see you again soon when the season gets started.
Thank you.
All right, so that was that driver, the number 26 machine, Joe Burkett. And Cisco, I think he did touch on something that's interesting to talk about, is that difference between the late model stock series and the super lates, and how those drivers are going to have to actually set up the super late model season or series, super late model cars for the season. But in the late model stocks, I believe it is a fixed setup, so everyone will be running the same.
Yeah, LMSC fixed setup, SLM, the open one there. So I think absolutely that is going to make things a little bit interesting here as we work our way towards the through the season. But one last driver that we're going to catch up here. We have a little bit of time left, so we're going to catch up with him. And he hasn't parked the car in a particularly good place right now, and trying to parallel park a little bit there is the driver of Nathan Hurlburt, who's going to head out right now. But Nathan, you got a copy?
We got you. Loud and clear.
Well, you're one of the quote grizzled veterans of this series. This is your third season. You've run all 3 seasons of the series. First of all, welcome back for 2018. But what are your kind of thoughts heading into it?
I just feel like getting back in the groove and without the drama this year, hopefully.
And one of the major changes for you being a part of Insane Motorsports, you got David Killough on board now, a couple other teammates. Talk a bit about the team dynamics for you this year.
Actually, Dave and I have been running together for the past 5 years, and getting back together with him is a good thing. We always run well together and can kind of feed off each other, per se.
Well, I mean, that's always the goal, right? But where's your target for this season? Who you watching out for here?
Oh, definitely Coker and Wilkinson for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're looking forward to having you back on track here. Sponsors, shout outs, anybody you want to say hello to out there?
Yeah, definitely like to say thanks to Bristol Transport and Pat and Cat for making it all possible.
All right, well, that's Nate Hurlburt. He'll be driving the number 28. Nate, good luck this season.
Thanks, guys.
And with that, we're going to wrap up our coverage of the LMSCs, the late model stocks here for the Cars eSport Tour. We aren't done. We'll walk you through some of the drivers from the super late model division as well, but definitely looking forward to that. And we're going to have a lot of fun calling these races. But with that, we're going to step aside here on LSRTV and switch over to Myrtle Beach, where we're going to take a look at those SLMs. And you're watching coverage of the Cars eSport Tour Media Day right here on your home for sim racing, LSRTV. We'll be back in a moment.
The best late model stock drivers in the country kick off 2018 racing for $10,000 at Tri-County Motor Speedway when the Cars Tour visits for the Do the Do 150. Bring a Mountain Dew product to save $3 off admission, or Do the Do 4-pack with 4 tickets, 4 dogs, and 4 dews for only $60. Gates open at 1, racing begins at 3 on Saturday, March 10th. Advance tickets are on sale now. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit carsracingtour.com.
I'm driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the NASCAR Xfinity car, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds, punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates. So it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona. So that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different, and the way you go about setting them up is a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about. And then when iRacing came about, my friend Kevin Iannarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey man, you need to switch over to this. And when I did, I was like, oh my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to really prepare for modified races, whether it was Stafford or Thompson or Loudon, Bristol. And then obviously the Xfinity Series last year, going to road courses, trying to get laps, and use it as a tool that can get me as prepared as I could be without actually doing it. So it's been great.
Back live here on LSRTV and in a familiar position here on Wednesdays as we sit high above the Myrtle Beach Speedway here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, as we get ready to talk some super late model action here as a part of the 2018 Cars eSport Tour Media Day. Cisco Scaramuza, Kelly Dahl, and Jacob Bell along with you. And before we get to talking to some of the drivers taking part in the series, we're going to get a chance to talk with the man who makes everything happen, who pushes the buttons, who yells at the pace car driver, everything behind the scenes. It's Kyle Barnes. And Kyle, got some announcements to make.
Yeah, we have a few. The first and one that's most exciting for us is a new loyalty program that we'll be doing for the 2018 season. None of our drivers know about this, not even the administrators know about this. But the Cars Tour in real life has a ton of incentives to bring the real life racers to the track each and every week. You run 3 consecutive races with them, you're going to get some bonus money. You run a full season with them. They gave some tires some fuel last season. So what we're going to do for our drivers, if they attempt a start in each and every event for the 2018 season, we're going to give them $5. So all they got to do, come in, qualify, take the green flag in an LCQ. If they don't make a single race this season, they're still going to be given $5 at the end of the year. There's no limits to how many drivers we're going to be giving this out to. So, if you're somebody in the back that gets disheartened midway through the season, and you're just trying to go out here and have some fun, you at least have something to keep running for. And hopefully this will help out with some car count issues that we've seen in the past, because guys get out of the point standings and they kind of die off, because once you get out of that certain area in the points, they're not able to make any money and they're too far gone. So, $5 isn't a lot, but it's enough for these guys with the smaller entry fees that they're paying this season. And hopefully this will give some guys some incentive to at least try each and every week.
Yeah, that's definitely going to bring some of these guys back in. But we're talking a little bit off air about kind of, the parallels between this series and real life. Talk a bit about that and, how this series mirrors the Cars Tour.
Well, funny enough, we try and follow every single rule we possibly can to the Cars Tour real life series. I think we've done a very good job in the realm of transferring real world racing over to the sim racing aspect. But last season we did variate off of that path a little bit, to where we brought in competition cautions. Competition cautions every 40 green flag consecutive laps, and it worked extremely well. We did it everywhere except for the twin events. The twin events were green flag all the way if they stayed that way, but it was a very good system. But with how many drivers we had this year, and with the Cars Tour not running them as far as we knew, we went ahead and took them off the rule book. And I was talking to Tony Stevens last night, and they've actually tossed that rule on the real life series, which I believe we got ours from South Boston Speedway when they started it a couple years ago. It's funny enough, we took it off our schedule this year. Real life has put it on theirs, so that will be returning this season. Also, the field size has been cut down to 28. This comes down to cars from last year where it was at 30. We'll also only be locking in the top 22 in qualifying. Then we'll have a 35 lap last chance qualifier. So there's quite a few different rules, and the events this season will mimic real life. For our first race next week at Stafford Motor Speedway, we're going to have stage racing where guys will have 4 tires in the pit road. They'll have a pair of rights and a pair of lefts. At the end of each stage, drivers can come down. They can either take 2 tires or 4 tires, or they can stay out on track with none. Once we go back to racing under caution, we're going to line them up. The drivers with no tires will line up first, followed by the drivers who took 2 tires, then followed by the guys who took 4 tires. And there's no limit to when they can take these tires other than at the end of a stage. So, stuff like this that the real life Cars Tour is doing is just so exciting, and we're so excited to be able to bring a lot of this stuff over to the sim racing world as well, and hopefully provide a better product in the end.
Well, I'll tell you what, I know there's a lot of people both on your end and on the Cars Tour end that make this thing happen. So feel free, give any sponsors, shout outs, everybody you got to say thank you to.
Got to thank Tony Stevens, Chris Regal, and everybody over there at the Cars Tour. They definitely took a big leap of faith working with us here about a year and a half ago, but it's paid off tremendously for not only CEA, but I think they've also had a great deal of hype here on iRacing. And we've seen a lot of partnerships with other series come on board with other leagues because of what we've started. Got to thank you guys over here at LSRTV. You guys have done an amazing job, and all my admins back at CEA. We kind of got down to a one-man team there this past winter, but happy to say we got a full drivers council, full administrative team now, marketing and sales guy, and Will Drevicky. So I'm very, very excited for what the future holds, and hopefully we can have an exciting season.
All right, well, that's Kyle Barnes, league director, owner, head honcho here at CEA. And Kyle, we look forward to the 2018 Cars eSport Tour.
We'll see you next week.
And we'll let him get back to doing admin duties. And the first person up is going to be probably one of these other drivers, Kelly, who has been talked about so much here at CEA and through so much success. You're standing by with Mr. CP himself, Christian Peterson.
Yeah, I'm down here with the driver, the number 23. As you mentioned, probably one of the most talked about drivers going into the super late model series. Christian, are you there with us?
We'll try him again.
I got you.
Yep, there we go. There we go. We got you.
All right, we got Christian Peterson here. Christian, you were the super late model champion. Coming into this season, you're going to be trying to defend that championship. Do you feel that gives you just that little bit of a momentum going in towards that first race?
I mean, for sure. If everybody's gunning for you, I think the pressure adds to the excitement and trying to do better for yourself or your team. But yeah, I think we're going to be good for the first week, and we're going to push real hard to continue that dominance. And end of last season we got beat, but we're gonna try to come back on top for the first race.
And speaking of that, you guys at Vincier, you're going to be facing just a bit more, maybe say a bit of more of a challenge coming into the season with all these other teams that have kind of formed up to take you guys down. And I've seen some of them have even said earlier tonight that they are gunning for you. They formed this team specifically to take down Vincier. And do you think you guys are going to be changing up your strategy just a little bit as you go into the series?
I think strategy will be the same. I mean, I don't think we'll be able to race, specifically me and Cucker, race each other as hard because we got, other guys to worry about now. But I think it just it'll bring more viewers. It'll bring more fun to everybody who shows up every night or every Wednesday. So I'm really excited that Drevicky and 09, they put together a powerhouse, and there's a couple other teams that have done the same. So I'm really looking forward to that.
All right, and it is a long season ahead of you, and where do you think you're really going to excel on this series? Is it going to be on the long hauls of these longer races, or maybe the shorter sprints as we maybe do a few, maybe the heat races in the stock series, or maybe even the segment series at Stafford that we start off with for the late model stocks?
Yeah, I mean, definitely going to try to keep our cars for the supers, at least for the long run. Heat races will play a little bit of a different role. We'll have to work on setups for that now, but that should be fun. But yeah, just same thing as last season, really. Just try to build fast cars that are still there at the end of the race, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, sounds like you guys at Vincier have got a plan formed up, and hopefully those guys that have said that they're coming to take you down, hopefully they've also got themselves a plan as well, because it sounds to me that you guys are going to be a hard team to take on. But before we let you go, Christian, we're going to give you the floor, and I'm sure you've heard this many times before. Who would you like to thank here tonight?
I just got to thank everybody at Vincier, first off. Everybody at Austin Designs, specifically Scott Austin. He come on board for this season. We're super excited to have him painting our cars and making us look good, and having him a part of our team. And just everybody at GlobalCom, iAnalyze, and Six Man Race Cars. Everybody who puts together the hours to work on setups or build paint schemes or whatever it is that helps our team grow. But yeah, and thanks to Kyle, everybody at Championship Esports Association and the Cars Tour and LSRTV for continuing to do this season, or this series, for the third season in a row, I guess. So yeah, just super looking forward to it.
All right, well, thank you very much for stopping by, Christian. I'm sure we're going to hear from you very shortly as this series kicks off next week.
Yep, look out for that 23. Thanks, Kelly.
All right, Cisco, and I think you did touch on something pretty interesting. The Vincier, they have got themselves a plan. They've already worked everything out. They know how they're going to be racing here, and I think that might be a little bit of trouble for those other drivers of the other teams, because Christian specifically said that him and Cucker aren't going to be racing each other as hard, and they're going to try to focus on just getting good results for the two of them.
And I'll be honest, that doesn't terribly surprise me a whole lot. We know those guys were planning, and evil laughter coming out of the Vincier Racing stable, because they know that they're going to have a good piece for 2018. But that's Christian Peterson, and we're going to step away from him and move on to one of the heads over at Mad Dog Motorsports. It's Billy Tungate, and he's standing by with Jacob Bell. Or maybe he took a little bit longer. Jacob, you there? No, he's not. Okay, he said he was running away, and apparently it took a little bit longer than he thought. So we'll just catch up with Billy Tungate right here. Billy, you got a copy?
Copy 10-4, bud.
Alrighty, sir. Well, Mad Dog Motorsports number 14 for you. Coming into 2018, you're going to be also running LMSC. But first off, your initial thoughts here coming into the super late model division.
Well, this will be my first ride in these cars in these short tracks, so hopefully all goes well on that.
Yeah, for sure. And what's kind of, we've talked to a couple of your teammates already and kind of getting their take on it, but we talked to Sean Cross a little bit earlier, but where kind of you sitting on 2018 here? What's kind of the team goals here?
Well, team goals is hopefully finish most of the races, but we'd like to get in the top 10, top 15. Being a new team, we're trying to put the team on the map. Also, we're running in the truck series as well, so this is also our first year as American Pool Supply sponsor in the truck series as well.
Well, you guys have been on board for several CEA events, so talk a little bit about American Pool Supply. What do you guys do out there?
Well, we're a wholesale pool company. We supply all pool supplies, building materials, all the contractors. We supply casinos with their chemicals and stuff like that.
I'll tell you what, you guys have been definitely one of the forces behind CEA this season, and I know you're looking forward to having a good 2018 here in the eSport Tour. And where are you looking forward to the most here in terms of tracks that we're going to?
Well, a majority of them will be my first time on the tracks, those particular tracks. Just going to be out here really just wheeling around, learning from these fast dudes out here. And that's basically what I'm looking for. And we get the team together, and we'll all come together and see what we can do.
And finally, since you're running both series here, what are some of the things that you look for in those differences? Apart from, obviously you got the fixed setup in the LMSC car, but what are kind of some of those other differences you're looking at here coming into 2018?
Yeah, I'm not real sure about the differences because I'm not real familiar with these cars, but I got a few people that are on other teams that are going to help us out, and hopefully we can catch up to at least some of their speed.
I'll tell you what, Billy, we got plenty of time here, so make sure anybody you want to give a call to, say hello out there.
Yeah, but I'd like to thank, of course, the owners of American Pool Supply, Rick and Jack Crockett, for putting it all together for us here for the sponsorship. Also, Pentair Water Products, which they're a sponsor of one of my other Derek Paulson's truck. And I appreciate Kyle Barnes for letting us in and getting to be a sponsor, and appreciate you guys at LSRTV for putting on the shows.
All right, Billy, well, thanks for talking to us, and good luck in 2018.
Hey, man, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And that's Billy Tungate, one of the heads over at Mad Dog Motorsports, and as well American Pool Supply. But Kelly, one of these leaders of these teams here, I think touched on a little bit the fact that he's still not quite sure what he's got in the back ready for this season, but definitely still some he sounds like he's looking forward to this season.
Yeah, it's truly the general consensus of all of these guys right now is everyone's excited to really get going here, and everyone's looking forward to kick off the season, and I certainly share that same sentiment. It seems like a lot of these guys are just ready to go hard, and we're going to have really the makings of just an exciting racing season, and maybe there are a few guys that just don't know what they're quite capable of, and they may maybe have something in their back pocket that they're going to reveal over these next few weeks, and suddenly we'll have some fast guy way up in the front dominating the season that we really didn't talk about tonight because we just didn't expect it.
I'll tell you what, I'm definitely looking forward to see who's going to be the surprise in here, but we found Jacob's mic battery. It turns out we had to go grab a new one, so he's got the new mic working. I'm going to send it down to him, and he's caught up with Will Drevicky driving for 09 Motorsports.
Yeah, I'm down here on pit road with Mr. Will Drevicky, owner of 09 Motorsports. Will, you got a copy? I do, sir. Hey, so talk to us a little bit about how 09 Motorsports environment has changed a lot from last season to this season. You guys added a driver. How's the environment been treating you?
Oh, it's been great. We added a bunch of drivers, brought in some really big guns, you know, Jeff Ward, Brandon Wilkinson. We just added Ryan Doucette tonight. Season's looking really good for us.
Yeah, and we had Brandon Wilkinson earlier come in tonight. I got a chance to speak with him. He was pretty excited with the opportunity. Talked a lot about the information you guys have been sharing together. I guess it's been really quality stuff, and he's excited to work with you guys. So what are you guys looking forward to with the new team?
Oh, well, we got Scotty EC over there at Scott Eckridge Chassis. He's going to be helping us out, building a lot of cars for us. Brandon gave a little bit of information away about the mystery men behind the scenes. Not at liberty to discuss who they are, but there's a little extra help there too. We're just looking for it, man. We came to win. I mean, no question about it.
Yeah, and I know people are probably wishing that someone would ask this question, so I got to do it. What is with all the secrecy with a lot of these teams you guys having?
Yeah, you know, just a little bit of shyness on some of the guys. Don't want to reveal their names. They like to just say anonymous behind the scenes. But I mean, a lot of our help's going to come from Scott Eckridge Chassis. He's been putting in a lot of time for us, a lot of hours building sets. So I really got to thank him because he came on board and just has done a lot for us.
So as a driver for this season, now let's step away from the team side and get to your side. What are you looking forward to for this upcoming season? Where are your goals at?
I am happy to be part of the series this year. I watched a lot of it on YouTube last year, followed the Cars Tour pretty extensively, you know, enjoyed a lot of the races. Wasn't in a position to compete myself. I did show up for South Boston, kind of laid an egg there, but made a goal over the off season to like really turn that around. I mean, I'm probably one of the oldest guys in the league here, so I'm the wily old vet, and if I steal one or two races here or there, I'll be more than happy with that.
So speaking of stealing those one or two races, is there any track on the circuit that you're looking forward to and you're circling and can't wait to get to?
Oh, I'm probably looking forward to the season opener mostly. We've been putting a lot of effort into that. You know, it's been a lot of waiting over the snowy months of the winter season for this to come back around. I raced the Tour Modifieds with these guys. I ended up finishing second in points there. Had a really good season with that and got familiar with a lot of the drivers throughout the league. There's a lot of good competition here, and I'm just looking forward to the season.
Yeah, and finally, anybody you want to give a special shout out to or anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank the wife, first of all. Nothing happens without her. My teammates, you know, Brandon Wilkinson, Jeff Ward for coming on board. Jonathan Kendall, he wasn't able to show up tonight. Paul Henley, you know, he's like my right-hand man. We got 410 we added this season. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody here. Oh, Ryan Doucette just signed tonight. So, I mean, we definitely came to win. Scott Eckridge Chassis, I want to thank them for all that they do over there. And my sponsors, Croak and Toad RC Raceway and Turn 5 Live.
Well, Mr. Drevicky, it was an honor, man, and a privilege to get to talk to you. So we look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, you have a good one.
And that was Will Drevicky, driver of the number 30, also team owner of 09 Motorsports, getting set for the new season to kick off. And I think 09 is definitely a team we're going to have to keep our eye on this season, right, Cisco?
Yeah, we saw them be able to pull some things off in the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series, and definitely looking forward to him. But Kelly, we've got a really hard interview coming up here. This guy does not like to talk whatsoever, so I don't know if you're going to be able to get anything out of him.
I think it's just that he doesn't like to talk to us because we always keep giving him trouble because we know him so well. But yeah, that'll be the driver of the 00 Gabe Wood, and he's coming up here. He's normally a commentator for us as well, but of course, since he's driving in this series, we are going to have to take a moment to talk to him. Gabe, are you there?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, you are there. So, Gabe, going into this season, we've got a bit of an uphill struggle for you with all these other drivers like the Vincier guys, and what do you think it's going to take to be able to bring those guys down?
A couple of broken legs, maybe some Tanya Harding kind of stuff. I think that's what it's going to take. I'm not expecting to get anywhere near the front. I just want to, I'm coming in this year. I'm not going to run the full season. I'm just going to run what I can, and when I do, I'm just hoping to make races and not do anything stupid.
Well, hopefully you don't do anything stupid, because knowing us, we're going to zoom right in on that car and we'll make sure to mention your names numerous times. So hopefully you do keep it clean. But going into the season, as you mentioned, you're not running the full season, but are there any races you're going to focus on particularly?
Just the ones that I end up actually running. Let me actually look at the schedule here. Running some places. I'm just going to pull up a schedule here, so I'm going to need well, actually, the website page isn't actually working. But any race that I really run, I'm just going to kind of practice in the weeks leading up to it and get some setups built. I'm pretty new to building setups. I'm just doing it myself here, privateer. I'm wrenching and driving and everything in between. So I'm just really hoping to just kind of run in the mid-pack, and if I can get up toward the front, that'll be great. Places, Myrtle Beach and Bristol, I'm actually really looking forward to, because that track, if you can kind of get a setup to where the car wants to turn in the center of the corner, you're going to be bad fast all day.
All right, well, hopefully at Bristol and Myrtle Beach, you do pull out a bit more of some speed there, because each one of those races has a $200 purse attached to it. So do you think that's going to help bring a lot more drivers into those races? And do you think maybe the racing is just going to be a bit harder and maybe even a bit dirtier with all that money on the line?
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be harder, but it won't be dirtier. We had the $500 to win late model race at the Bull Ring last year, and even with that much money, it was 350 laps, and it was some of the funnest race I've ever been a part of. And it only got really dirty down toward the end, but I mean, when you're going for $500, you're going to see that on the sim in real life. It doesn't matter.
All right, Gabe, well, thanks for taking the time to stop and talk to us. Before we let you go, though, who would you like to thank?
Well, I'm unsponsored for this series, but I'm putting the Double H Ranch and Langdale Ford, it's a local company back home, but I'm really supporting the Double H Ranch this year. It's a children's charity. Everything I win this year, purse money, league purses, championship purses, and then just one race win checks, I'm going to donate half of it or more, depending on how much I actually end up making, to the Double H Ranch. So if anybody wants to check them out, they are a hole-in-the-wall camp. It was founded by the late Paul Newman, and it helps a lot of disabled children. So if you guys want to check that out, it's the Double H Ranch.
All right, well, that sounds like a good plan to me, Gabe. Hopefully you do raise a bit of money for those guys, and hopefully we'll see you again in a few weeks.
All right, thank you.
All right, Cisco, so that's Gabe Wood, and one of our friends here at LSRTV, and as you mentioned, he's a privateer, so that's definitely going to be a hard series for him to really get success in. As we've mentioned, we've got so many teams that are going to be working together to have a bit of an advantage over these privateer guys.
Yeah, for sure, Kelly, and definitely looking forward to see what Gabe's going to be able to do. Had a lot of success out here in the Solstice in the U-Car division, and I know he's been aching to go out and win one of these things in one of these proper oval cars, not just the Solstice. So keep an eye on that 00. He might be able to surprise us yet. But two drivers left that we're going to try and grab. The first one we're going to get is one of these guys who allegedly drives these things in real life. So we'll have to see if we can get him on the horn. William Hale, you got a copy?
No, not at all.
Nope, not at all. Don't got him.
All right,
but,
what's up, man?
What's up? But Hale, of course, you drive these things on the real life side of things, but making your appearance once again here in the Cars eSport Tour, and your big asterisk next to your name here on the cue card is you are the only winner from 2017 who was not on Vincier Racing. So for you, this is definitely a we could do something here.
Yeah. We when we won that race, I was actually by myself. We were just on a little train. We put a little team together for this year. Andrew Wood and Jake Watson, CNE Chassis, all them guys over there. We've kind of got together for this year, and I think we can make something happen. It just depends. Peterson and all them guys are really fast, as always, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the year plays out.
Of course, you hang out with us here on LSRTV from time to time, but when you're not doing that, you're hopping in the real-life car. And talk a bit about that kind of transition for you into the sim, then back into the real car. What's that like?
It just helps versatility and adversity and all that. With iRacing, you go through a bunch of different scenarios really fast, and you can do it within a 3-hour span, versus the real car, you might not see that in 3 months. So it's just the car itself, I would like iRacing to update a little personally. It's a little outdated compared to what we're running now, but yeah, it helps a lot, actually. Obviously the tracks that I run personally in real life, they don't have on here, like the National Fairgrounds and Montgomery Motor Speedway and stuff like that. I wish they would get them on here, but they don't have them right now, so it's kind of hard to translate. But you can run like New Smyrna and places like that and really get a good IQ around that track before you even go there. So jumping in between, it's helped me out a lot. Excel quickly in a late model.
Well, I'll tell you what, I talked to you a little bit at the PRI show this year. What's kind of on the horizon for you coming up in 2018?
Well, on the iRacing side of things, or the real life side of things, would be
whatever you can talk about.
Whatever I can talk about. Well, on the iRacing side of things, really not going to have that much time, so the Cars tour would probably be all I'm going to end up doing on that side of things, because that's going to take up a lot of time setting up for that. So race against these guys, a really good group of guys. On the iRacing horizon, or on the real life horizon, excuse me, we're gonna run a lot of races this year. We're gonna try. I know for sure we're going to the All-American 400, and that we're going to the Snowball Derby. There's some other things I can't really talk about in the works right now. We're gonna try to get a couple other things settled, but everybody will hear about that in time. So yeah, that's what we're looking. Gonna run the fairgrounds. Obviously, it's my home track. Gonna go down to Montgomery, New Smyrna some. Was gonna run Myrtle Beach, but couldn't get anything like that done before the 400. But we're gonna try our best to do what we can on the real life spectrum, and hopefully win some races this year.
All right, Hale. Well, it's always awesome to have you in the booth here. Sponsors, shout outs, anybody you gotta say hello to out there?
I always got to thank Hale Mechanical for keeping me in a race car since day one. All those guys at CNE Chassis Works, Gonna Go Performance, Strauss Barbecue, Hamke Race Cars, AR Bodies, and you guys up here, LSRTV as always, sticker on the car since day one. You guys are awesome. So, just all those guys, all the guys back at the shop that help us, Joe Lawrence that helped set up these cars, Andrew Wooten, Jake Watson, all those guys at CNE Chassis Works that make this possible and get us up front.
Well, it's great to talk to you as always. Good luck this season, and we'll see you here coming up.
Thanks, guys. Hopefully I'm up here more this season.
Hey, I like it. That's William Hale, and we got time for one more driver, so we're going to quickly go back to the wireless mic of Jacob Bell, who's going to catch up with our final driver here this evening, and it's actually a teammate that Hale talked to a little bit about, and that's Jake Watson, the 88.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be standing by with Jake Watson. First off, Jake, love the name. It seems like an interesting name. Every Jacob I know, it's been a pretty cool guy. Anyways, though, you're driving with Left Turn Motorsports this year, so talk a little bit about how that's going to be. Looking forward to this season.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm actually part owner with Caden and Trayton Laps, which we've been doing this for about 2 years now, and we're finally venturing off into the open super late model aspect of things. So, we're looking forward to it. Me, Will, and Andrew are going to look to do a full-time schedule here in 2018.
Yeah, and then obviously you didn't race on the season last year, so this is going to be your first season actually on the tour. So what are your goals looking like heading into the 2018 year?
Just to learn as much as I can and hopefully go for as many wins as possible. And, you know, at the end of the year, if we're close enough to get the championship, we're obviously going to go for it.
Yeah, and then is there anybody you want to actually give a shout-out to while we have some time real quick, or any special thanks?
Yeah, I'd really like to thank my setup builder, Joe Lawrence, and also Andrew Wooten for giving me all the help they can. And seeing Chassis Works, Clutch Graphics, Pit Viper Sunglasses, Cyclone Racing Shocks, and everyone that makes it happen.
Yeah, man, well, I wish we could have talked to you a little bit longer, but I know we're running a little short on time, but I appreciate getting the opportunity to speak to you anyway, so we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, thank you.
And that was Jake Watson, driver of the 88 for Left Turn Motorsports. First time on the Cars Tour, but he's got his goals set pretty high, looking to end up in victory lane. But Siska, I think we're close to wrapping it up here.
Yeah, we're close to wrapping it up, and do want to note, of course, Jake Watson, another driver who ran in Upstate this past off season during the winter, so definitely some experience behind the wheel and a name we've been seeing around here a little while here on LSRTV. But Kelly, I'll come to you first. Who out of everybody we talked to today really kind of excited you or intrigued you a little bit here?
I'd have to say it was a mix between Christian Peterson and Will Drevicky, both of them talking about the strategies that their team is going to be bringing to this race. And I think that's probably going to be our story throughout the entire season, is how these teams are going to be working together to try to take down those Vincier drivers that dominated the season. But I think Vincier may still try to hold just a tight grasp on this series, but I don't know if they're going to be able to dominate just quite as well as they did last year with all these guys teaming up now.
Yeah, I want to throw in there real quick with adding on to him. I think for me, it's got to be Brandon Wilkinson in the 56 car. It's talked a lot about the suspicion behind who's helping these guys out. So I think it's going to make for an interesting season, and maybe honestly, maybe even some drama. So from our perspective of the media side, could get interesting there if those names come out. Maybe they're names who aren't supposed to be helping them. Who knows? Because everything's so secretive here, which I think it just makes for a fun time and a lot of good racing.
It adds to the mystique of the team, Jacob. I think that's what kind of you're going at, and yeah, I definitely agree. And for me, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on that Left Turn Motorsports group, not just because I know Hale and stuff like that, but I just know that as a competitor, he's very competitive, and he wants to be at the top of this thing. He said as much when he went out and tried to tried to get the bounty at Sobo, and of course, one of the drivers not from Vincier who's actually had success here in the eSport Tour, so definitely keep an eye on those Left Turn Motorsports guys. But with that, that's about all the time we have for here, and if you want to learn more about this series, go to www.championshipesports.com, and of course you can follow them on Facebook, Championship Esports Association. And of course, for everybody behind the scenes at the Cars Tour making this happen, as Kyle said, Chris Regal and Tony Stevens, over to those guys. We'll be hanging out with them a little bit this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Head over to All-American Speedway and catch the season opener of the Real Life Cars Tour, and you can catch that over on Pit Row Media. Will be plenty of coverage over on Facebook, so look forward to that. But for everybody here at LSRTV who makes things happen and was here hanging out with us in the broadcast booth, for Jacob Bell and Kelly Dahl, I've been Cisco Scaramuza, and we'll see you here coming up for the first race of the 2018 Cars eSport Tour. Until then, good night.